And it is indeed a pleasure for me to be amongst you, despite some busy schedule in the morning with the cabinet meeting and now with Parliament in session. But however, I consider it a great privilege to be amongst you since the establishment of this institute and its location here in Sri Lanka is indeed a matter of pride for all of us Sri Lankans. And the good work you do all over Asia and Africa, two continents that holds perhaps 3/4 of the world's population. We feel that this particular event, which was invented way back in 1993, to have a day dedicated to celebrate water, is indeed an important symbolic event. So symbolism apart, when you look at the long history of the World Water Day and its themes, and the way in which themes have been declared, it encompasses almost the entire human race and its involvement with environment and the world. So we had themes such as water and women, water and power, so water and sustainable development, which I'm sure you have now today considered that as a part of your theme for some working sessions which you are now engaged in. I have not been privy to what have been going on this morning, but however, this issue of sustainable development and water is something that now with the new advent of the UN goals of sustainable development, which came as a sequel to the Millennium Development Goals, too has its great resonance with what we do, particularly with water. To me, it is in a very exciting area. To us politicians, we are birds of passage. We will today be in this ministry, tomorrow another. So I have been in several already. But this I find is something that stimulates your entire persona with all types of different disciplines, to engage with them, talk to them, and look at how we shape the way in which we deliver clean drinking water to the people. But of course, with my colleague, the irrigation minister, it's a different challenge to see that agriculture and irrigation and the rest of it is managed well with the water resources that we have. This country, which, as all of you know, has a very proud irrigation civilization, as they call it, Varisistacharya, they will very proudly talk about, is something that all of us are all of us take pride in. So, of late we have had all types of different challenges that we face. In order to meet those challenges, I feel, it's just not simply good enough to have a symbolic event on a day to celebrate water and to discuss issues pertaining to the themes that have already been declared internationally. I think we need to try and see how we could try and create that awareness and sustain that awareness among the people. And that is the challenge, and particularly for developing countries, a middle income country, which we have got into that bracket already. So to us, the way in which we manage our water sources. We are blessed with almost 100 perennial rivers dotted all over the country, and that we too have a plethora of tanks which from the ancient times have been preserving the water for use for agricultural purposes, for other purposes. The ministry is now faced with different challenges like coping with this chronic kidney disease phenomena, which unfortunately, though it is known as a CKD, that is chronic kidney disease, which cannot be in fact connected to any particular causative factor, but then there are various assumptions afloat, and assumptions deal with pesticides and contamination of water too. So we are in the process of establishing a state-of-the-art water laboratory with the help of the Chinese. When His Excellency the President visited the People's Republic of China on his first official visit, this was something that he wanted the Chinese to assist us with, and they very generously gave a grant which will make it possible for us to build a state-of-the-art laboratory, and that laboratory will now be situated alongside the Peradeniya University. Our ministry and the university will share a responsibility to maintain that lab. Together with that, we have now embarked on a very ambitious program of trying to have pipe-borne water projects to be implemented, particularly in areas where this so-called CKD syndrome is noticeable. It's known as chronic kidney disease of unknown etiology. So still nobody has come to any conclusive findings, but yet efforts are going on to try and minimize the link between drinking water and the onset of this non-communicable disease that we are now faced with. Almost 20,000 households have been affected. You can imagine when you look at the theme of this workshop, it talks about water and jobs. So when you talk about water and jobs, when you have 20,000 people affected by kidney, I mean, it affects the entire family. They become so destitute and dependent, and they have to incur such costs that really has a serious impact in the livelihood of those people. So these factors have to be taken into account, and we need to address these issues with intervention by the government at different levels. And I must thank His Excellency the President, who has undertaken to chair a special task force which sits very regularly, and I'm sure some of you may be involved with that exercise, to see that we will try and address this issue in all earnestness. So I believe this effort, together with, as I told you, when you talk about sustainable development goals and water, invariably water comes into contact with every sector that dominates our life. So the nexus between water and sustainable development need not be further emphasized. But I need to say this, I am thinking of very soon go into cabinet with a concept paper and get some approval to go ahead with an effort to get industries and businesses to declare their water footprint on their products. Because this is something that we need to develop and encourage. This may help us ultimately in preserving water and making it finally compulsory on business houses and others, so that in every product they bring out, be it a garment or be it a food item, to declare how much of water has gone into the production of that particular consumable. So then it becomes also an onus and responsibility of that organization to see that they ultimately, after usage of the water, how much of water are they purifying and letting it back into the original sources is also something to be measured up. And these are things that we could do for the future, so that this whole issue of sustainability would be very meaningful. So with those comments, I mean, this is some idea that is just floating in my mind at the moment, but I will try and develop this idea into a concept paper and try and get some direction from the government to try and implement. Because when you talk about water and jobs, the pricing of water is a big challenge for all those in the water sector. Now, since we are in a we are all political animals in this country, but for us politicians, you see, the price of water and the way we price it is going to have a serious impact on the entire economy of the country. So even in pricing formulas, so we need to devise ways and means. So we can, like how they have invented the carbon footprint and are rewarding institutions for the way in which they earn points by declaring their carbon footprint. Well, we could devise a scheme where we could take forward the water footprint and try and reward businesses for their transparency in declaring about their water consumption patterns. So these are issues that we should discuss, and I'm sure this particular session that you are having will be very productive. And once again, it's indeed a big pleasure. It's a great pleasure for me to be amongst you today. And this is the first time I have stepped into this long building. I had a very long walk from the foyer. I thought it was, when you look at it from outside, it doesn't seem as so large building, but then interestingly, so I can see the enormous amount of work you should be doing here. And one day when I find a little more time, I'll tell Peter to take me around and show me what he's doing. But indeed, it's a big pleasure, a great pleasure for me to be amongst you this afternoon to say a few words. Thank you.